We've all heard it before. Do well in school, go to college, get a job, get married, buy a house, and you'll be okay. Really? In today's economy, there's no guarantees. And yet, if you look around, the U.S. is full of untraditional success stories. That's what this show's about. Welcome to The Alternative Entrepreneur, where we explore the most uncorporate and untraditional business success, checking out people and businesses who did it their way. In this episode, we're going to see how a few punkers making t-shirts in a garage could grow into a successful business with corporate headquarters the size of a small city block. The alternative clothing brand Lucky 13 makes everything from clothes to shoes to accessories. Boasting over 50 employees, handling worldwide sales and distribution, and all the while maintaining a punk rock subculture. My name is LP, and this is The Alternative Entrepreneur. Well, let's take it back a little bit. I'd like to know, how did you come up with the idea for Lucky 13? How did it evolve? Where did the name come from?
Basically, where it started was in a garage out here in Westminster. A bunch of us we'd been hanging out and going to shows and stuff on a regular basis, and a friend of ours had a little garage that we kind of all migrated to. And one night we were sitting around talking with all of us, and we started brainstorming, and then knowing that I was already in the apparel kind of business, and one guy was in the graphics, and one guy was in this and that and the other, marketing, we decided, why don't we put something together and see if some of these stores and some of these other people that we're dealing with already would be interested in it. And not only that, but we really kind of wanted to do it for our friends and, you know, kind of do something that nobody else was doing, and just put it out there, and just for the hell of it, because it was like we had all the tools, we had all the experience. We didn't ever expect it to become what it is today. It was just for fun. So this is Arnie. He's the co-founder with me. He's basically the visual, colorful design artist behind the brand.
Do you have any suggestions or tips or anything that you've learned along the road that you would be willing to share?
It's a hard world. You just got to keep going at it. If you really want it, you just got to push, push, push. Don't listen to anybody and just do it. We are here almost 14 hours a day, just crunching it out. You got to be committed. If you're not committed, like anything, don't even bother. Do something else, because it's hard.
Right.
What's up, guys?
Hello.
Coming in to invade you right now. These guys in here, this is basically the art department, art and design department, and accessories, and everything that has to do with that. So when the artists or these guys design something, they take it and create, get it so it works onto the apparel. So you have to do color separations, what are called color separations. They have to do sizing. They have to clean up art and design it around the garments. Mike also works on the catalog. So he's constantly thinking about getting the product and making it look right, and the design style numbers and the pricing and everything for the catalog. Jessica works with him on the accessories. They run the accessories side of things as well. Jamie over here handles all the color separations, which means in order to do graphic printing or you know, some of the things that we do in the building, you have to separate each color out from itself. Jamie's in charge of getting it to the right size and making sure it's going to look good when it goes on the actual application of the embellishing, if it's a printing or embroidery, whatever we're going to do. At the time, it was before the internet, so to do things right, you have to trademark things and all this stuff. We actually started as Kickstart. We actually started as a clothing, it was a motorcycle clothing company based on just bikes and stuff, and that fell through immediately. We didn't know what we were doing, and we ended up using somebody else's name, so we had to drop that. We were trying to come up with names and trying to come up with all these ideas, and one night we had a list of them we were kind of coming up with. Nothing stuck. I was driving home, and an earthquake hit, and went to flip on the TV. Right out of the gate, the guy's like, we had a little trembler down there in Southern California or whatever, in Orange County area. It was the 13th of, he says, 13th of March at Lucky 13. And that's when I went, bink. I was like, that's it. We went down, applied for it, and we had to wait a really long time before we could take action. But I was so excited about it, and I didn't even care. I'm just like, I don't care if this trademark goes through or not. I just want to start doing stuff. I put together all my my money, everything that I had, and I went out to this big event in Florida and had as many T-shirts as I could get that we actually made ourselves, and it went really good. And that's when everything's just started picking up from there. And it was really strange to see how many people and how our world, everything started happening based around the number 13. This is basically the employee lounge. We used to call it our band room because we have a bunch of people here that play music, and after work, about 6 o'clock, 6:30, when most people are gone, come in here and make a bunch of noise and have some drinks and just cause some ruckus. But we've cleaned it up a little bit, and now it's more of a lounge type place. We've got some video games going now. We do have the full bar still, and if people want to play, the instruments are pretty easily accessible. We pull this out, and then right on the other side of the warehouse, we got a lot of the other stuff.
And how long have you been here now?
We've been in this building probably about 7 years, coming up on 7 years. Before that, we were across the street for 5, and before that, we were down the block for 5, and before that, we were over in Costa Mesa. This is Jeanette. She is in charge of our inventory control.
Hello, Jeanette.
And a much needed position. We've had a lot of issues with inventory and controlling inventory coming in and out, so she's tackling it.
Yeah, it's fun.
Good time.
Nice to meet you.
Ebony, she handles our web. She's part of our web team.
Hello. Hi, how are you?
She's basically works with another guy here, Jeff. Actually, we have several people that work on the web, but these two that you'll meet are pretty much the ones in charge of making sure everything happens. So this department is on fire right now. The whole website and that whole side of business is out of control.
Is there anything you'd like to say on the social media?
I mean, Facebook has been fantastic for us. Twitter's been pretty cool too. I mean, it's putting things up there for people to do, you know, contests and things like that, just getting our name out there, and it's really exploded in like the last month and a half. It's amazing.
And we're learning a lot as we go, so she's actually got a lot more experience than we have, so we brought her in to kind of bump up the team to the next level, and man, it's just unbelievable the potential that's out there, you know, especially when it comes to marketing, not just for sales, but you know, marketing is unbelievable. When I was younger, I started working when I was about 14 years old. I had about 3 or 4 jobs when I was 14 years old, and I was trying to do everything as I could, much as I could, because I wanted to get a motorcycle. And I was saving money. My parents were like, hey, you know, go for it. If you can save the money, you can get yourself a motorcycle. And as I gradually got closer and I was getting my money, I specifically remember sitting down at the dinner table and them asking me, so how's the motorcycle thing going? How close are you? And I was maybe $300 or $400 away. And I think I remembered both of them looking at each other and going, you know what, we talked about it and we decided you can't get a motorcycle. Yeah, so I was like, what? Working my butt off for this thing, and then all of a sudden they just pulled the rug out from underneath me, and I remember that to this day. I remember that's, I think, why I'm in business for myself, because having somebody else tell you what to do or following the rules to get to the end of the road to be told no or hit a roadblock, or you know, I've always had problems with authority, and I've always had problems with, you know, listening to my elders and stuff, and that was just like the cherry on the sundae. And it really made me become more driven, more independent, making, you know, if you want something, you just got to do it yourself, and you got to work your ass off and don't listen to anybody else. You know, obviously I couldn't get a motorcycle because I was too young and I lived under their roof, but I still think about that time, and whenever somebody tells me I can't do something, or whenever somebody tells me, oh, you guys are gonna fail or whatever, like that's when it, oh yeah, you know, it kicks in. We were talking about this a little bit earlier. This is just a collection of all the things, trinkets and art and stuff that I'm into, friends that have given me, and places I've gone all over the world that I just grab stuff that I like and eventually ends up here at my house. Actually, there's a ton more of this at my house. I wish I could bring it all here. It won't fit.
I love it.
It's kind of scary.
So each one of these has a memory.
Each one has a story, yeah. When there's an earthquake here, man, it's sometimes, you know, they haven't been too big, but I'll be sitting here and this thing starts rocking, and a lot of that stuff's not, you know, it'll come right down on me. Busy.
Should we come back?
Making shit happen. Probably. He's pretending like he's working. This is Creature of the Black Lagoon Tiki. A friend of mine named John from Twisted Tiki, who doesn't do tikis anymore, made this, and we jumped on it, as well as the Frankenstein Elvis that's in the band room. So he's pretty cool. He's got all his little, he's got gills and all his, lots of detail. You're probably
a sample.
familiar with this a little bit, Lisa. We have to come out twice a year with a new line. Unlike car companies that can keep something for a whole year or whatever, we have to keep constantly reproducing ourselves. So what we do is we bring in color and photos from magazines or things to give us inspiration. This is actually at a different stage than that, but what happens at that point, we start sketching, we all kind of meet, and there's certain things you have to do in the company that you kind of always have to do, even though it's not necessarily your first choice. And then there's a whole other part of it where we always try to, you know, bring in something new, something a little bit different, something a little bit more our way. And those sometimes work and sometimes they don't work. There's a lot of balance that goes into this, and we've got a lot of really good people who know what they're doing now, where we can get all this taken care of before it goes into a catalog. So that's kind of what this whole hub is.
Well, this I think is another, you know, we talked about the accounting being like a, you know,
Oh, yeah,
part of it. I think this is a crucial part of what you do, and there's so much that goes into it. Like once you figure out the design and what you like, then finding the fabrics, finding the, you know, the rickrack or the trim or the buttons. Do you have like places that you always go to for those fabrics, or do you shop all over for your fabrics? I mean, one thing that sets you apart from many other clothing lines is that a lot of what you do is in-house. I mean, you're sewing, and we'll get to that later, but your silk screen, your embroidery, you know, so much is done here at Lucky 13. But I know you have to outsource for some, you know, to get in the fabrics and things.
Yeah, what happens is it's very competitive. So we're always sourcing new vendors. We're trying to find unique people who aren't working with anybody else in our industry. And sometimes we're at the point, we're the little company that's not big enough to do their own stuff, and a big company that can't just do the stock stuff anymore. So we're designing our own fabrics now. This is really the heart of the company. The accounting department's the brain. You know, I wasn't even thinking. But without those two organs, it's not happening. You know, obviously they work with each other very closely, but this is definitely the heart and soul of the company. Part of our company in this shop here, we do a lot of private label, which is producing garments for other companies, not just our own brands. And that's where Monique over here, Monique,
Hi.
she handles all the private label stuff and the contract work. So if an outside customer comes in, let's say your film crew comes in and wants to get some t-shirts made for your crew, which I think we actually are talking about, Monique would be the one who would deal with that. Take your artwork, take your ideas, show you different books and different garments and everything that you're looking for, and make it happen.
That's awesome. So not only do you make your own line, you make other people's lines as well.
Mm-hmm. That's actually a big part of the company. That's how, in the beginning, that's how we were paying the bills, by doing all of this other production for other companies, so we can make enough money to make a couple t-shirts that nobody bought, and then keep funding the brands. That's how we paid for the brand. The whole thing about, you know, the 13 is ideal for me because so many people are scared of a number, which is just the silliest thing in the world, and it's actually, because so many people are afraid of it, it's brought us so many amazing experiences and opportunities, because I just can get into it and I won't waste your time, but it's just been, it's just,
So the irony,
it's perfect.
the irony
it's perfect.
of it.
The irony, it's ideal, you know, everything's, it is, I'm here for a reason, this has happened for a reason, and Lucky 13 is gonna be what it's gonna be, and it's not really up to me, you know. This is our screen shop. We've got 3 automatic presses and a manual press, 2 14 colors and 1 12 color. You can see they're setting up a job right now. Basically, we can print just about any garment you give us with a little creativity, you know. But yeah, we can do 14 colors on this press. Sometimes if there's 2 jobs that are really small, 1 or 2 colors, you can set up 2 jobs at the same time, run one job, take that side down, and run the other job.
Would you like to take us through the process of, say, making a t-shirt from design to finish?
Sure.
I've asked Bobby to show us how something goes from an idea to an actual piece of Lucky 13 merchandise.
So here's an example of how we make a girls screen printed t-shirt here. This will be what we end up with. This is the girls printed, basically girls fitted tee with one of our designs on. So what happens is Arnie, or our artists here, come up with a concept, and we talk about it and we discuss it and we keep revising it until we come up with a design that we like. And Arnie will end up submitting a piece of artwork printed on a piece of paper along with a disc to the art department. It looks something like this. He comps it up and he gets all the ideas down and sends it over to this department, which you guys met Jamie earlier, and he does the color separations. What they do is they'll make a sample out here in the screen shop for us to approve, and they come in and we go, yeah, we like this, we don't like this, adjust the pink, adjust the black, whatever we need to do, fix the positioning, and then we approve the job and it runs. So we can go over to the screen department now and I'll show you guys how screens burn. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take each piece of film and we're gonna burn screens with this thing. This is what's called the base plate. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a screen that's basically coated with emulsion. This blue stuff you see on here is light sensitive emulsion. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna burn this image into this emulsion with an exposure unit that's on the inside. It's kind of like a tanning bed. This is basically the exposure unit. And what we do is we take some of those screens that are like behind you drying on those racks and we stick it in this exposure unit. Let's see if he's got one in here right now. No. And there's a little light down here that flips on like a tanning booth, like I said. So we stick the screen in here, we stick the film on the screen, we slap it down, we turn this on, and it kind of sucks it to the film to the screen. Light comes on, it burns the image into it. We take this off, we peel off the film, we take it over to this washout booth, and that washes out that image where the black was. And the rest of the film that didn't get exposed will keep getting exposed now that it's out here in light, so it gets even harder. So for the next 20 minutes, that emulsion's still actually hardening. And it becomes really like nails. You can't get it off. We have to use a chemical to burn it off, basically, after that. So I'm gonna show you what a screen ends up looking like with this screen. This piece of film, actually, you can see it was burned into this side of the screen, and everything that was burned washes out. Anything that was exposed to the light hardens. So there's every color of this design. This is the tan color, obviously. This looks like it's another version of the pink or the gray. That's the pink heart. So you take every single one of these screens and we pop them onto this press. Every screen gets its own station. We obviously have to mix the inks to match that Pantone matching system, which actually takes a lot of work in that ink mixing department. They put every color on every screen, slap it around. It has to be in a certain sequence based on, it's actually a skill. I was telling you, it's a craftsmanship. It's an art, because you have to know which colors mix better after each other, which ones cool faster, which colors can be stepped on, which colors can't be stepped on. Like, there's a lot to it. And you end up basically with a full printed t-shirt at the end of this press. Depending on the type of ink, we'll go through the dryer, and the surface of this has to reach about 320 degrees and it bonds to the fabric. But once the stuff comes through, it's usually a little bit hot. They let it cool off for a second. We start sticking it into dozens, which I don't want to mess up their dozens. And at that point, we come over here, and our packaging department, they'll, whatever they need to do to it, if they're going to hang tag it, relabel it, fold it, bag it, stick size stickers, colors. We have SKU numbers that they have to go on there. We can go over to the packaging machine. This packaging machine can do about 900 shirts an hour. This machine flies. And at that point, once they get it all packaged up and it goes into the bags, we put all the paperwork with it. So it's the style number, the design name, the color codes and everything. It gets bagged up. The receiving department comes back over, picks it up, counts it out, checks it in, sticks it in the stock, and that's when Josh and his team get it out of the building. We do always try to do events. You know, we get involved with some other people's events. Sometimes we put on our own event. We're turning 20 this year, so we've decided to put a little party together down at Dawn the Beachcombers in Sunset Beach. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have the cars, the bikes, the vans. They're going to do a cruise. It's tikied out. There's waterfalls and tikis and plants and bamboo and thatched huts and everything. It's really over the top. It's got a really perfect setup for us. We're going to have a big art gallery in one hall. We're going to have bands and a freak show and a burlesque show. We're going to have the first 13 tattoos will be on us.
Awesome.
So yeah, it should be good, and it's free, and it's all ages. There is a bar area that kids won't be allowed in, but there's a whole nother bunch of stuff going on that we're going to have live tiki carving outside. So it should be a fun day.
We're here with Bobby from Lucky 13 at the 20th anniversary Lucky 13 party, and Bobby's going to give us a tour.
All right, guys, let's go check it out.
So we did our homework. We planned it right. We organized it well. We promoted the shit out of this thing. And you know, when you come together with a good team, you organize it right, you plan it right, you promote it right, good shit happens. And that's why we're doing what we did, and that's why everyone is here enjoying this awesome day.
Well, we got a little tiki flavor throwdown. My company Tiki Farm makes mugs, and we kind of hooked up with all of our brethren in the tiki community, set up a Tiki Farms Tiki Terrace vending village here. We got 13 vendors on board, appropriate for the event, and just keeping it real.
Well, it certainly is a fine start to what is going to be a tradition, I'm sure. The Tiki Highway is just beginning, and 15 years from now we'll see where it's gone. But I think it's going to be bigger and better than anyone has ever seen it before.
Thanks for coming down to the show, and I'll see you next year.
Can you describe what Lucky 13 means to you and where you see it going from here?
It's really hard to explain. It means a lot of different things in a lot of different angles, you know. So, but I think what means the most to me, and what Lucky 13 means to me, is do what you want to do, be who you want to be, never give up, and don't be afraid to go against the grain. You know, the 13 is an unlucky number for a lot of people, and so having that against us has made us work even harder. It's been a lot of fun to overcome all those challenges.
Right.
So.
And I remember, and I've mentioned it a few times throughout the day, but about 20 years ago when we first met, and you know, I met you in the warehouse, and it was like a one room with a desk, and it's just unbelievable how you know, staying true to yourself and the things that you love, you've been able to grow it, and making, you know, mistakes along the way, and learning the hard way, and sticking to, you know, your guns and who you are. And that's one thing that I've always admired about you, is that you're genuinely a good person and you try to do the right thing. And I could know how that this industry is extremely competitive, and that could be tough.
Yeah, that's super tough. You nailed it on the head there, because a lot of people who know me know that I wear my heart on my sleeve, and so what you see is what you get. And a lot of people in this industry, like a lot of industries, I'm sure the music industry and all these other people who have, it's cutthroat, you know, and a lot of people take advantage of a lot of people and just scratch their way to the top, you know, it's dog eat dog, and we've had to overcome a lot of that. But I really do believe at the end of the day, you know, it's like karma. It all comes back. You just as long as you don't give up and you keep on your path, you know, you've got fate. You know, you're gonna have your destiny's ahead of you. So we just stay true to what we're doing and keep doing what we're doing, and it kind of works itself out. We're all pretty lucky here because for some reason, somehow, we've turned a business from a lifestyle into a business. You know, and it has been. Every day we're learning, but we're having a good time.
Awesome. Well, I just wanted to thank you for, you know, welcoming us into your mini empire here in Orange County, and it's pretty exciting. You are definitely a true example of the alternative entrepreneur, and just into following Lucky 13 and seeing where you go.
Well, you guys are welcome to come here anytime you want. You can do whatever you want. Try. If you guys want to play some music one night or whatever, come on down.